The Young and the Restless recap for Tuesday, September 2nd, 25, had Victor pushing Cain into an alliance, Diane sparring with Phyllis, and Claire asking out Holden after Kyle proposed marriage. Jack and Diane's drink together at society was interrupted when Phyllis walked in. Diane said that she'd like to wring Phyllis's neck as she's teaming up with Cain. Diane was shocked when Jack waved to Phyllis to join them. Jack asked Phyllis how things were going with Cain. Phyllis said things with Cain were going to be epic, but she wasn't going to give specifics. Diane asked when Cain's big plan was going to unfold, when Harrison went off to college. Diane said that Cain was pulling back on everything. Phyllis denied that it was happening. The redhead added that Cain got rid of Billy. "Is her nose growing?" Diane asked Jack, making a Pinocchio reference to Phyllis's lies. Phyllis conceded there was a delay. She accused Diane of being devious. Phyllis said everything that came out of Diane's mouth was white noise. Diane wanted to know why Cain was delaying his big plan. Phyllis said it was because Charlie and Maddie were hurt by the reveal that he was Dumas. Phyllis told Jack things would be on hold for as long as Cain wants. Phyllis said she wasn't going to let Diane affect her. She wished Jack and Diane a great evening and walked off. Jack asked Diane to work harder at not letting Phyllis push her buttons. Jack said something feels off about all of this. Jack and Diane fleshed out different theories as to why Cain may have told Phyllis he was backing off. Amanda ran into Jack and Diane as they were on their way out. Amanda lamented that Cain's party ended tragically, but that was all in the past now. Jack advised Amanda to give Cain a message. If Cain tries to pull any funny business with Jabot, he'll make sure both Cain and Amanda rue the day they came back to Genoa City. Phyllis grilled Amanda on Cain's plans. She wondered if Cain could execute his plan and fix his relationship with his kids at the same time. Phyllis said she didn't need specifics on Cain's plan, but she wanted broad strokes. Phyllis accused her pal of lying. She added that she has already put her blood, sweat, and tears into this company, and that she deserved better. Phyllis shared her idea with Amanda, that she step in and she'd be the bad guy while Cain worked on his relationship with his kids. Amanda was hesitant. Phyllis begged her pal to tell her what the plan was. Victor welcomed Cain to his ranch. Cain said it was best to let Victor know as soon as possible that he was turning down his request that they team up to take Jabot from the Abbotts. Cain claimed that a lot of things have changed with him over the last few days. He said Maddie and Charlie didn't take the news of him being Dumas too well. Victor said he understood Cain's devotion to his family. He, too, has changed his plans because of his family. Victor, however, noted he wasn't requesting Cain go up against Jack. He was ordering him to. Victor threatened to reveal that Madame de Leon signed over her assets to Colin. Cain said he'd have to take his chances if Victor were to leverage Newman Media against him. Victor wondered why Cain was going to throw away what he'd built up. He asked what Cain's kids would feel about Cain and Colin's legacies when the truth comes out. Cain countered that his kids would recognize a smear campaign when they saw one. Victor said he was reasonable. He could wait until Cain straightened out his relationship with his kids before they moved with a takeover of Jabot Cosmetics. Cain asked why Victor needed him to take Jabot in the first place. Victor told Cain he knows about his artificial intelligence program. He knows Cain wants to get more money, and he's going to have to share that money with Victor. Cain and Victor bickered back and forth over his plan with AI. Victor pointed out that Phyllis's hacking abilities would help him with his plan. Victor added that Cain uses sarcasm when he's backed into a corner. Cain said using AI to take over companies is not possible. Victor said it was possible. He added that he, Victor, will benefit from the use of artificial intelligence, and not Cain. Cain admonished Victor that AI could be dangerous. He said that type of power should be used for good, not a self-serving power grab. Victor said the software should be used to destroy Jabot, and the company would be taken away from the Abbotts once and for all. Kyle, holding the ring he bought for Clare, said he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her. Clare said she wasn't expecting him to propose. Kyle said tonight seemed like the perfect time. Kyle asked Clare to say yes, so he'd be the happiest man in the world. Clare wanted to know when Kyle bought the ring. She accused him of trying to fix what he did regarding their fight over Audra. Clare said that Kyle is saying words any woman would love to hear, including her. She added that his actions appear to be in response to his lies. Clare asked for time. Instead, she got a dinner invitation and a marriage proposal. Clare said that she and Kyle haven't even lived together. She suspected that she and Kyle would be looking at apartments, not planning a wedding. Clare wondered what was next. Was Kyle going to suggest they have a baby? Kyle followed Clare into the living room. He assured her he wasn't proposing marriage to do damage control. "Okay," Clare said. Kyle wondered if that meant she believed him or still had doubts. And no, he wasn't suggesting that they have a baby. He apologized for not reading the room. He said there were no excuses. Clare shared that the idea of him and Audra being so close still confused her. Kyle re-explained that he was trying to expose Victor's plan. Clare wanted to know if sleeping with Audra was a possibility that Kyle was entertaining. Kyle and Clare returned to the dining table. He asked her about her day. She said she was promoted to a spot at Newman Publishing. Clare talked fondly about her dad. She suggested that they call it a night. Kyle said. Clare asked Kyle to give her compliments on the dinner to Mrs. Martinez. He followed her out to the living room and asked if they could talk in the future. Clare said yes, but she needed more time. He went to miss her, but she turned away. Jack and Diane returned home to a despondent Kyle. Diane figured out quickly that things didn't go well. Kyle said they warned him about not pushing too fast too soon. Kyle told his parents that Clare said she'd think about it, not that she said no. Jack said that wasn't a bad result. Diane urged Kyle to give Clare some space. Jack suggested that Clare would come around. Meanwhile, Clare showed up at Crimson Lights and ordered a drink from Esther. She recommended decaf, but Clare was up for some caffeine. Holden called out from a table, noting that Esther had also urged him to avoid espresso. He asked how Clare was. Holden offered an ear to Clare. Esther told Clare her drink was ready. Clare said she wasn't up for caffeine. Clare suggested to Nathan that she get drunk, and she asked him to join her. Hello, everyone! Welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. On The Young and the Restless, tomorrow, Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025, Billy isn't afraid of commitment. We've got the photo spoilers of what's coming up. Sally has been worried for quite some time that Billy's focus on getting back Chancellor Industries would dominate his desire to launch Abbott Communications. But Sally got Billy to agree to give her full control of the company in his absence. But does that mean that Sally could be ousted if Jack, Diane, or even Billy feels like it? There are lots of things that Sally and Billy like about one another, but how deep are they into their relationship, both personally and professionally? Billy is committed to his goals and loyal to his family, but where does Sally fit in? Is being with her forever a goal? And if so, at one point, would she be considered family? Speaking of Jack and Diane, they've got an upset son on their hands. Kyle hasn't taken any of their advice so far when it comes to Clare, but it seems like he's now ready to listen. Is it too late? As for Clare, she bumped into Holden and asked him to get drunk with her. Nothing good can come from that. Or can it? On Wednesday, Clare and Holden team up against Audra. Let's see what's coming up on tomorrow's episode. Jack and Diane share words of wisdom with Kyle, but if they can't get back together, will Victor enforce the contract he has on Kyle? Of course he will. Kyle's been too busy worrying about Clare dumping him than to remember the contract, but Jack and Diane won't. Also, they have to fend off Victor's constant need for revenge. And now Cain is a threat as well. Can Jack think of a way to fix all of those problems sooner rather than later? On Wednesday, Billy makes a commitment to Sally. But is it about Abbott Communications, their living arrangements, or something else? On Monday's episode of The Young and the Restless, it felt like the writers may have dropped some anvils about the future of Jack and Diane's marriage. It all started the moment the subject of Nikki came up. On Monday's episode of The Young and the Restless, a pleasant get-together for drinks at Society turned into an intense disagreement between Jack and Diane. Jack discussed joining forces with Billy to seek vengeance against Victor, who recently made a business arrangement with Audra to break up Kyle and Clare. Billy's goal is to take over Chancellor Industries, But Jack's main hesitation is that the company's CEO, Nikki, will be hurt in the process. Diane was enraged by Jack's instinct to protect Nikki, since they are longtime friends and ex-spouses. Diane and Nikki have a history of mutual animosity, as Nikki used to be married to Jack, and Diane used to be married to Victor. Plus, for years, the Genoa City residents thought Diane was dead after Nikki seemingly killed her in self-defense. So there will likely always be bitter blood between the two women. Jack asked Diane, "Are we ever going to get past this?" He knows the subject of Nikki was also a thorn in Diane's side after Nikki started drinking again in 2003. Jack acted as Nikki's sponsor, which Diane reluctantly accepted. But after he overdosed on pills one night to try to sober up a drunken Nikki, Diane was both worried and furious that he risked his life that way. "How could you do that to me?" she asked him. "To your family?" When Diane and Nikki had a tense run-in with each other in the park last week on The Young and the Restless, Diane told her the same thing she told Jack, that Nikki turns a blind eye to Victor's evil schemes. Nikki tried to keep the peace with Diane, saying that Clare is struggling with her first romantic disappointment after learning that Kyle kissed Audra, and Kyle needs to be patient while Clare tries to process what happened and figure out where their relationship stands. Diane and Nikki both know Kyle and Clare love each other, so it would be nice if these two ladies could put their past differences aside for the sake of their families. Instead of Diane wanting to join Billy in seeking control of Chancellor Industries, what if Diane and Nikki actually joined forces to try to convince their husbands to call a truce with each other again? It's amazing what they might accomplish if they put their heads together and brainstorm possible ways to establish peace between Victor and Jack. Jack and Diane have gotten through some difficult times in their marriage, like the 2024 storyline where Kyle rebelled against them and went to work for Victor. Jack and Diane concocted a plan to get Kyle out of Victor's clutches by pretending they were breaking up. It was hell on both of them, but it was the only way they could think of to get Kyle away from Victor. Kyle was furious, but eventually forgave them. If Jack and Diane could weather that storm, then they shouldn't let Jack's friendship with Nikki tear them apart either. But the Nikki-centered dialogue between them on Monday's episode felt like foreshadowing. It seems like Jack and Diane are going to face another rocky road ahead. Is she jealous of Nikki? It sure seems so. Will she and Jack overcome this obstacle like they did the last one? Or will this obstacle ultimately create a rift in their marriage? The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Thursday, September 4th, reveal that Claire Newman will snap on Audra Charles, while Michael Baldwin receives a tempting offer. At Society, Holden Novak may end up having to play referee between Audra and Claire. After Audra pushes one button too many, Claire will lash out in a big way. Since Claire's been talking about wanting to slap the smug look off Audra's face, she might actually do it. Claire will indeed let her temper boil over somehow, so she might deliver a soapy slap that gets the whole restaurant's attention. Over with Michael, he'll get updates on an interesting new opportunity. Michael walked away from Victor Newman because of his efforts to destroy Jabot, but will Victor try to lure his former attorney back into his web? Since Victor is even more determined to ruin Jack Abbott and blow things up at his family business, working out an agreement with Michael would be difficult. Instead, Michael may get a different offer, perhaps one that involves helping Cain Ashby wiggle out of the Victor mess he's stuck in. Then again, Jack might recruit Michael for Jabot's team instead, and consider him a great tool to have against Victor. Diane Jenkins Abbott pointed out that no one knows Victor's mind like Jack does, but Michael might be the one person who comes close. Jack and Michael might be an unstoppable alliance, but does Michael really want to make himself a target like that? You can bet that Lauren Fenmore Baldwin wouldn't like it, so Michael may find himself with a lot to consider on Thursday's Y&R episode. At the ranch, Nikki Newman will find herself a few steps ahead of Victor for once. It's not easy to surprise a man like Victor, but Nikki will manage to pull it off when she delivers a romantic evening that's full of gifts and grand gestures. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for the week of September 8-12, reveal that Kyle Abbott will have a doomed plan while Cain Ashby worries about blowing his last chance with Lily Winters. Phyllis Summers will also do some damage control. So here's what Y&R fans can look forward to. For starters, Kyle's scheme could backfire spectacularly if he's not careful. Although Kyle will hope to drive Audra Charles out of Genoa City, his plot seems destined to fail. Kyle may end up in Audra's orbit way too much for Clare Newman's taste. There's also the matter of how vengeful Audra is, so any moves Kyle makes could cost him big time. Y&R fans can't forget that Kyle signed Victor Newman's contract and will have to pay $5 million in addition to leaving town if he breaks Clare's heart. By trying to get rid of Audra, Kyle could make some huge mistakes and set the stage for his own GC banishment instead. In the meantime, let's talk about Phyllis, since she'll have to do some damage control. After Phyllis goes too far somehow, she'll have to dial it back and perhaps convince Cain that she can clean up the mess. Of course, Cain will be dealing with another mess of his own. Victor will keep pressuring Cain to team up against Jabot using the AI software that Cain's team developed, so Cain will remain in a tight spot. Cain prefers to be in the driver's seat when it comes to scheming, so he'll try to regain control of the situation as best as he can. In the midst of all this, Cain will worry about blowing his last chance with Lily. Although Lily hasn't agreed to give Cain one yet, he'll hold out hope for their future and will keep fighting for the next chapter of their love story. As for Victor and Jack Abbott, the tension between them will escalate in the coming episodes. Nikki Newman could land at the center of some heated showdowns as the Newman-Abbott feud gets even worse. Meanwhile, Daniel Romalotti Jr. will find it increasingly difficult to fight his growing feelings for Tessa Porter. Tessa has been leaning on Daniel more and more lately, so could things take a sizzling turn with a kiss? If so, that could bring concerns for Mariah Copeland or even Sharon Newman if one of them witnesses a close moment. Speaking of Sharon, she may find herself frustrated since her potential reunion with Nick Newman seems to have stalled. Is Nick serious about restarting this romance, or just stringing Sharon along? The Young and the Restless, recap for Wednesday, September 3rd, reveals that Kyle Abbott will plot to drive Audra Charles out of town, while Billy Abbott asks Sally Spectra to move in. At home, Billy will speak with Jack Abbott over the phone, so they'll both be excited about Abbott Communications' imminent launch party. Once Sally comes over, Billy will surprise her with a fake retro newspaper that has details on the bash and some big news in the society section. It'll say that Sally is moving in with Billy in the coming days, so she'll be taken aback over his move-in offer. Sally will worry about the kids' reaction, but Billy will seem confident that they'll be fine with it. Although Sally will be a little scared after getting burned in love in the past, Billy will insist they're meant to last. After hitting the sheets on Wednesday's Y&R episode, Sally will agree to move in with Billy as long as the kids are on board, so he'll be thrilled. In the park, Kyle will be out for a run when he bumps into Audra, so they'll taunt each other over their romantic problems. Now that Kyle has Victor Newman's support, he'll warn that Victor could go after her if Audra keeps harassing him along with Clare Newman. Kyle will argue that there's no one left to fool in Genoa City, since everyone knows who Audra really is. That's why Kyle will think Audra needs to leave town, but she'll refuse to let anyone control her. Nevertheless, Kyle will make it clear that he'll destroy Audra if she doesn't back off. Once Kyle heads to the Abbott mansion, he'll open up to Jack about his despair over the Clare situation. Kyle will struggle to give Clare the space she needs since he'll worry she could decide she's better off without him. After Kyle mulls over a way to prove himself to Clare, he'll resolve to try driving Audra out of GC, though Jack will think it's a lofty goal. At Society, Holden Novak will urge Clare to slow down as she starts guzzling her first Vesper of the evening. However, Clare won't need a babysitter and will plan on having a lot more booze before the evening's over. As Clare drinks, Holden will quiz her about what's wrong, but Clare will want to talk about Holden's time with Audra in Los Angeles. Clare will feel like she needs to know how far Audra's willing to go, and will eventually give Holden updates on most of the Kyle drama. Holden won't think Audra would do anything physically dangerous, but he'll still think Clare should stay away from her. Instead, Holden will suggest he could distract Audra and get her to listen to him. Clare won't be scared of Audra, and will imply that she can play just as dirty as her. Holden will remain concerned and will be reluctant to open up as Clare pressures him for more LA info. Audra will ultimately waltz in and find Clare with Holden, so she'll approach them at the bar. That'll leave Clare and Audra looking like they're ready for a showdown, which is indeed coming up soon. Next month, Michelle Stafford, who plays Phyllis on The Young and the Restless, is set to attend the Daytime Emmys in October, as she's nominated in the category of Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series. The three-time Daytime Emmy winner recently asked someone if he'd be interested in her date, and his response will leave you in stitches. Stafford shared a video in which she was driving along with her son Jameson, who was sitting in the back. The Young and the Restless star asked her son if he'd like to attend the Daytime Emmys with her in October. I would get too bored, Jameson responded. Looking directly into the camera, Stafford repeated her son's brutally honest response. You would get too bored, she replied. In the comments section of her post, the actress wrote, "Not a fan of my work." And this isn't the first Y&R actress to post a video of her children saying the darndest things. Recently, Melissa Clare Egan, who's also nominated in the Outstanding Lead Actress category this year, showed a photo of her young son, chanting repeatedly, "Mommy's bad." As in Egan's case, the comments section was filled with responses from her friends and fellow moms. "You are so beautiful," wrote Amelia Heinle. Added Laura Lee Bell, "until he realizes how fun his mom is and her work friends. Stafford won't have to walk the red carpet alone, given all the friends she has in soaps." Her former co-star Dawn DeMont quipped, "You still have me." Stafford replied, "I do, I know, ha 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 ha." Stafford's real-life son, Michael Graziadei, wrote, "I agree." In case there's any doubt as to the humorous intention of this post, Stafford posted, "You all are so sweet. This was meant to be funny." The 52nd Annual Daytime Emmys are set to be given out on Friday, October 17th. In addition to Stafford and Egan, nominees in the Outstanding Lead Actress category include Y&R's Eileen Davidson and Sharon Case, along with General Hospital stars Laura Wright and Nancy Lee Grahn. The Young and the Restless is also nominated in the categories of Outstanding Drama Series, Outstanding Drama Series Writing Team, and Outstanding Drama Series Directing Team. Stafford won the statuette last year in the category of Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series. Click here to read a full list of all the nominees. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Genoa City's glittering skyline has never felt so claustrophobic for Audra Charles. After months of scheming her way into Victor Newman's orbit and carefully weaving herself through the city's tangled web of business rivalries and romantic entanglements, Audra is discovering that her relentless ambition has finally boxed her in. For the first time since she arrived, there may be no clever escape, no strategic pivot, just the crushing weight of exposure. At the heart of her unraveling stands a most unlikely alliance, Holden Novak and Clare Newman. On paper, the two couldn't be more different, but their shared determination to stop Audra has created a bond forged out of necessity. Clare, bruised from Audra's repeated sabotage of her relationship with Kyle Abbott, has chosen strategy over revenge. Holden, sharp and calculating, has quietly stalked Audra's every move since arriving in Genoa City, waiting for her to stumble. Now, together, they've constructed a trap too tight for even Audra to slip through. The pressure has been mounting from every side: Holden's persistence, Clare's newfound resolve, and Victor's simmering impatience with a protégé who delivers more chaos than control. For the first time, Audra falters. Spoilers tease that this week she turns to Nate Hastings, the man whose trust once served as a shield, but whose instincts have sharpened against her. Audra's confession to Nate isn't born of guilt. It's a calculated gamble. She knows silence would destroy her faster than any rival could, so she gambles that partial honesty might salvage her alliance with Victor or soften the inevitable fallout. But in bearing her secrets, she reveals far more than she intends, unraveling the carefully spun web she thought would protect her. Adding fuel to her downfall, Audra tries to shift blame onto Kyle Abbott, lashing out in desperation. She insists Kyle's loose lips, not her own manipulations, have led to her exposure. In doing so, she only underscores the betrayal she has been orchestrating from the start: Victor's plan to use her as a wedge between Kyle and Clare. The strategy was simple: destabilize their bond, fracture Kyle's heart, and leave Clare vulnerable. In return, Victor would reward Audra with influence and leverage at Newman's table. Instead, her scheming has spotlighted her own duplicity while strengthening the couple she tried to destroy. And Victor Newman? He doesn't tolerate failure. He certainly doesn't forgive betrayal. For Audra Charles, the walls of Genoa City aren't just closing in. They're crumbling around her, threatening to bury her in the very secrets she thought she could control. He Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that the show's offering a huge Clare Newman pregnancy hint, but will the baby daddy be Kyle Abbott or Holden Novak? In the September 2nd episode, Clare went on a tirade after Kyle's marriage proposal. Since Kyle rushed right into asking Clare to marry him, she lashed out and wondered if he'd suggest they have a baby next. Kyle joked around with a "not yet," before realizing he needed to get serious about trying to fix the mess he made. However, we have to consider the possibility that Y&R just dropped a major clue about Clare's looming pregnancy. It was a little odd for Clare to blurt out that baby comment, so this could be the show's way of telling fans what's to come. It's possible that a pregnancy storyline is indeed in the works for Clare, so let's consider how things might go down. Clare's on the verge of getting drunk with Holden, so there's a chance they might land in bed together. Even if it doesn't happen now, it could happen in the not-too-distant future, especially if Clare and Holden make it a habit of drinking together excessively. Drunkenness often leads to big mistakes on soaps, so Clare really needs to keep that in mind. If Clare does hit the sheets with Holden, the guilt might drive her back to Kyle and give her a new secret to keep. Clare might hop back in bed with Kyle and end up pregnant, leaving her wondering who the father is. Of course, it's also possible Clare will remain faithful to Kyle. That could still bring a pregnancy shocker, since Clare certainly isn't planning on having a baby anytime soon. That said, it'd be far soapier if there was another bio-dad option. Holden has grown close to Clare lately, and could be a baby daddy candidate too, depending on where Y&R wants to go with all this. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Clare may have another emotional roller coaster ahead of her, so stay tuned for updates on any pregnancy news that might be on the horizon. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates reveal the latest fall preview promises exciting shakeups ahead. Let's dive into the growing drama and all the surprises waiting for your beloved Genoa City characters. To begin with, Kyle Abbott will find himself feeling adrift after his marriage proposal doesn't unfold as he had hoped. It seems that Kyle will inadvertently steer Clare Newman towards Holden Novak. As they join forces against Audra Charles, Holden and Clare will have numerous chances to connect. Coupled with Clare's growing irritation towards Kyle, Holden will have opportunities to draw her nearer, and they may bond. Meanwhile, since Nate Hastings is unlikely to overlook Audra's deceitful and manipulative actions, he may soon be open to a new romantic chapter. Victoria Newman is still in mourning for Cole Howard, but she might be prepared to move forward sooner than fans expect. Characters on soap operas seldom grieve for extended periods, so Victoria and Nate could be heading towards a romantic reconciliation. Meanwhile, Victor Newman and Jack Abbott are set to escalate the ongoing Newman-Abbott conflict. Will either or both of them cross the line in this renewed feud? As for Cain Ashby, he might come to regret his approach with Lily Winters and the twins. Cain wants everyone to believe he's stepping back from his ambitious plans in Genoa City, all while he continues to scheme in the shadows. This appears to be a recipe for disaster, as any advancements Cain makes with his family could be jeopardized once the truth is revealed. Reuniting with Kyle, he will undoubtedly confront his own regrets, especially since he signed a contract agreeing to pay $5 million and leave town if he broke Clare's heart. Victor might enforce this agreement after Clare inevitably ends up heartbroken, making it difficult for Kyle to contest what he has committed to. Meanwhile, the deepening bond between Daniel Romalotti and Tessa Porter is set to introduce some challenges this autumn. Is Mariah Copeland's opportunity to salvage her marriage fading? Phyllis Summers often acts like a wrecking ball, but Daniel is determined to prevent her from transforming Danny Romalotti's and Christine Blair's October wedding into a disaster. Additionally, we should discuss some recent casting updates. Tamara Braun, known for her roles in Days of Our Lives and General Hospital, is making her debut as Sienna Bacall this fall. It will be interesting to see who she becomes involved with and which fortunate man she will be matched with. Will Sharon Newman face competition for Nick Newman's affection when Sienna arrives? Is it possible that Sienna has a history with Cain? Roger Howarth, known for his roles in GH and One Life to Live, is making his way to Genoa City in a secretive part. This is leading to rumors that he could be taking on the role of Tucker McCall. This speculation seems plausible, especially with Chance Chancellor's death, leaving Tucker as the final heir of Catherine Chancellor. If this turns out to be true, could Cain and Tucker forge a strong partnership? In any case, The Young and the Restless spoilers hint at some exciting developments this autumn, so keep an eye out for more updates on the storyline. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with Y&R right now. Come back here often for The Young and the Restless spoilers, news, and updates. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of September 8 to 12 reveal that Kyle Abbott will have a doomed plan while Cain Ashby worries about blowing his last chance with Lily Winters. Phyllis Summers will also do some damage control, so here's what Y&R fans can look forward to. For starters, Kyle's scheme could backfire spectacularly if he's not careful. Although Kyle will hope to drive Audra Charles out of Genoa City, his plot seems destined to fail. There's also the matter of how vengeful Audra is, so any moves Kyle makes could cost him big time. Y&R fans can't forget that Kyle signed Victor Newman's contract and will have to pay $5 million in addition to leaving town if he breaks Claire's heart. By trying to get rid of Audra, Kyle could make some huge mistakes and set the stage for his own GC banishment instead. In the meantime, let's talk about Phyllis since she'll have to do some damage control. After Phyllis goes too far somehow, she'll have to dial it back and perhaps convince Cain that she can clean up the mess. Of course, Cain will be dealing with another mess of his own. Victor will keep pressuring Cain to team up against Jabot using the AI software that Cain's team developed, so Cain will remain in a tight spot. Cain prefers to be in the driver's seat when it comes to scheming, so he'll try to regain control of the situation as best as he can. In the midst of all this, Cain will worry about blowing his last chance with Lily. Although Lily hasn't agreed to give Cain one yet, he'll hold out hope for their future and will keep fighting for the next chapter of their love story. As for Victor and Jack Abbott, the tension between them will escalate in the coming episodes. Nikki Newman could land at the center of some heated showdowns as the Newman-Abbott feud gets even worse. Meanwhile, Daniel Romalotti Jr. will find it increasingly difficult to fight his growing feelings for Tessa Porter. Tessa has been leaning on Daniel more and more lately, so could things take a sizzling turn with a kiss? If so, that could bring concerns for Mariah Copeland or even Sharon Newman if one of them witnesses a close moment. Speaking of Sharon, she may find herself frustrated since her potential reunion with Nick Newman seems to have stalled. Her love life is desperately in need of a shakeup. Phyllis is focused on power, money, and success, but her personal life is long overdue. She needs a new love interest on The Young and the Restless, and it could happen with Cain's storyline ramping up. SoapHub.com reported that Roger Howarth is joining Y&R. This news follows the news that Tamara Braun will play a mysterious new character named Sienna. Howarth is a soap veteran who's acted on As the World Turns, One Life to Live, and General Hospital. Stafford expressed her excitement for both soap greats moving to Genoa City. As soap fans know, Stafford and Howarth were on GH together. She played Nina Reeves, while Howarth portrayed Franco Baldwin. Fans recall their steamy on-screen chemistry. Their characters knew how to keep each other on their toes. Y&R fans are hoping to witness this dynamic once again. Needless to say, Phyllis's love life is stale. She's scared away most of her exes. The only ones who are still in her orbit are Billy and Nick, both of whom don't see her that way anymore. They seem like they're more scared of her than attracted to her. Phyllis needs a new love interest on Y&R. Howarth's character could be just the man for her. It's also possible that Phyllis and Cain could become GC's next power couple. Phyllis clearly needs a man who doesn't fear her and can keep up with her fiery passions in and out of the bedroom. She also needs a man who can handle her crazy ambitions and witty banter. Do you want to see Howarth and Stafford back together on Y&R? If now, who do you think Phyllis should end up with next? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Cain claimed someone was out to get him, So what happened? Cain claimed that his life was in danger. He believed that someone was out to murder him on The Young and the Restless. 3 deaths occurred in Nice, and Cain moved on from it. Although the audience hasn't. They want to know if Cain's life is still in danger. When the Genoa City crew showed up in Nice, Aristotle Dumas was revealed to be Cain Ashby, who became a billionaire. Then, in a bizarre twist, he shared that someone was out to kill him. He hid because he didn't want anyone to know his whereabouts. Y&R fans are still buzzing about this on one soap opera message board. The original poster asked, "Is Cain's life in danger still?" That same person thinks the real threat could be from Cain's past or the De Leon family. He bought out their French estate, as he did with many other properties. Some fans believe he was pulling a fast one. He didn't act like a man whose life was in danger. Was Cain's life ever in danger? I must have missed it. He came and went as he pleased without a care in the world. He still does, one person responded. I am wondering if Cain's life was ever in danger too. I would like to know why Cain even thought his life was in danger, that he had to bring Chance to Nice, someone else wrote. Cain's life was never in danger. Cain is a shady liar, another person concluded. The audience forgot that Cain's assistant, Carter, was the person who killed Damien. Then, he ended up killing Chance before ending his own life. However, Carter claimed he was doing this to protect Cain. So does this mean that Cain's life is still in danger? Or was his assistant pulling the strings behind the scenes? Cain's fear of someone being out to kill him was a plot point to bring to Chance to Nice to be murdered on his way out the door, one person wrote. Was it ever? I think it was just a way to get Chance to Nice and then to dispose of his character. Another fan echoed the same sentiments. Meanwhile, other fans wondered whether one of Cain's kids has it out for him. Maybe it's Sam, who's been tracking down his father, but has been unsuccessful. It's also possible that Cain's list of haters is growing. With Cain on the way that he is now, I think it's a possibility that his life may be in danger now. Cain is pissing off a lot of people right now in GC. It could lead to someone trying to take him out. Victor's shocking blackmail forces Cain to face whether Arabesque was built on stolen money. In the September 2nd episode of The Young and the Restless, Cain faced Victor's most dangerous move yet. What began as a refusal to partner with the mustache against Jabot turned into a battle over Cain's very identity when Victor pulled out evidence that Colin's final con helped fund Arabesque. The revelation raised the question, is Cain's empire built on lies, and what will it cost him to protect it? Editor's note, Soap Hub is starting a new daily column called The Rinse for your after Y&R discussion and breakdown. When Cain rejected Victor's latest power play, he assumed the conversation was over. Instead, Victor presented a damning document tying Colin's last swindle to the fortune Cain used to build his company. The threat was clear: ally with Victor or risk public humiliation. Cain pushed back, insisting he wasn't involved and refusing to let his father's crimes define him. But Victor framed it as inevitable. Cain's family, and Genoa City at large, would see his empire as tainted if he didn't fall in line. This attack cut deeper than a simple business threat. Cain built his success as Dumas to prove to his children that he wasn't the man his father was. He wanted to give Maddie and Charlie a legacy worth admiring, not one tied to scandal and deceit. But will Cain's kids ever forgive him? Nate seems to be at a crossroads, both personally and professional. Nate is going through a lot lately. He broke up with Audra, and suddenly, his worst fears came true. Clare accused Audra of making a deal with Victor that required her to seduce Kyle. Nate's lost his brother and now his girlfriend. He seems to be at a crossroads on The Young and the Restless. Nate ended his relationship with Audra. He already had doubts about their relationship before her trip to Nice. Audra told Nate that she was struggling to land a deal, and now she told him that Victor refused to fund Vibranti. In addition, Clare claimed Audra had been scheming to end her relationship with Kyle and accused her of kissing Kyle. Meanwhile, Audra struggled to explain each of her wrongdoings. Now, Nate realized that the red flags were there all along. He brushed them off because he believed that she had changed for the better. Nate will likely reunite with Victoria. They're both in mourning right now. Victoria is grieving the loss of Cole, while Nate lost his brother Damien. That's not the only thing he's going through. Nate is going through a crossroads in his life. He just doesn't know it yet. He still has that kind and compassionate doctor nature. He used that to take care of Amy, but he had to transition into the corporate world after his injury. However, Nate is no longer interested in corporate wars. He also wishes his girlfriend would end up the same way. So, what's next for Nate? Even if he eventually gets back together with Victoria, who seems to be going through the same experience. Like Nate, Victoria isn't interested in the corporate shakeups involving Cain. She enjoyed her little family with Cole and Clare, and Nate enjoyed the family dynamic he shared with Audra and Amy. See where we're going with this? The last time that Nate and Victoria were together, they were both entrenched in corporatism, and it ruined them. Could their newfound shared values bring them back together?